Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the world famous Rich Wilson Show. I am Rich Wilson, and we are here live in Harker Heights, Texas. You know, not exactly the greatest place in the world, but it is a place. By the way, hi to people on Facebook. Told you, be right back. So anyway, let me tell you about why I'm doing my show tonight. Besides the fact that I like doing my show. Last night I went to bed and... Hey, what's going on, brother? Last night before I went to bed, I was watching all these people sit there and discuss back and forth DACA, and I came up with this crazy-ass idea. I said, hey, why don't we just do this? Why don't we just turn around, take the 91% of them that are actually contributing to society, and let's turn around and make them citizens. And everybody's like, well, it takes time. Actually, you could cut the red tape. You cut the red tape completely. And I'll explain that more to you tonight on how that's going to happen. Because we've gotten to a focal point in the United States of America where we're literally holding people in the balance based off of a group of individuals who are illegal, whether it be their own fruition or not, and we're using them as a balancing act between two parties trying to prove whose dick is bigger than the other. We're also going to talk about the tax break plan because a lot of you seem to be misunderstanding how this whole thing's going to work. We're also going to be sitting there and we're also going to talk about Carrier because I'm going to call them out on their bullshit. I'm going to cover Costco tonight, and I'm going to talk to you guys about why you're being misinformed about this shit running around on the internet. About how Costco, because of the tax cuts and all the money they're getting, they're cutting the jobs anyway. We're also going to talk about how the Kodiak Island in Alaska is trying to slide off into the Bering Sea, and that the volcano in the Philippines, that would be the Mayon volcano, is getting ready to erupt. And if lucky enough, we'll discuss why I'm wearing this jersey tonight. So on that note, let's get started. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, the big thing that's been on everybody's mind is DACA. The dreamers. The unfortunate souls that have been brought to the United States and they didn't know any better and are now stuck here and they can't go home. Or they don't want to go home because they've been members of our society for a very, very long time. Everything working out okay?
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, sorry, I see some things moving around over there. I wanted to make sure we're good. Okay. Now the thing is, we came up on a budget deadline, and the House of Representatives passed a budget. They sent it to the Senate. The Senate decided they were going to go apeshit, and they were going to not pass it, and then they were going to start looking at each other and telling each other, well, if you don't pass what I want, I'm not going to vote for what you want. And so in a sense, they turned around and said, we're going to weigh illegal aliens versus the United States military and the Parks and Recs and a countless of other government offices that aren't really involved in any of this hostage. Now, I'm not sitting here and saying that one is more than the other, with the exception of we're holding a country hostage based off of trying to pay for people to be here illegally. In itself, it's a violation of the Constitution. But however, they're here. And because of political grandstanding, we have 800,000 people, between 800 to 900,000 people stuck in this country, not knowing whether or not they're going to be here today, or if they're going to get sent back tomorrow to countries these people have never even really lived in. Now, am I saying that we should take all the illegal aliens in the United States and make them citizens? No, I'm not. However, it's not that difficult to correct this situation. Because of the government and how they fucked this whole thing up, we have 91% of the 800,000 stuck in the balance that really should be here. They've done the things they needed to do. They have contributed to society. In fact, they've contributed to society better than a good percentage of people that were not born here and are already Americans. I think those people need to stay. So here's what we need to do, folks. Here's what we need to do. All right? Make it simple. Everybody that's in the DACA program goes ahead and registers with the United States government. We open up a website for them to log into. They give their information. The United States does a background check. Trust me when I say this, 800,000 people doesn't take that long to do a background check. It really doesn't. It's going to take about 8 to 9 months. The reason why I say that is because at any point in the FBI system, there is over 4 million people going through background checks, and they can still get through in 6 to 7 months. At the end of the background checks, once they are cleared, they don't have felonies on their record, they don't have major misdemeanors, then we move on to process number 2, making you a U.S. citizen. It's not really that difficult. The process takes forever in a normal situation, but that's because of all the red tape. And there's a lot of bureaucratic bullshit that separates people from being here as a green card holder or stuck in the winds to becoming a citizen of this country. There's a whole lot of bureaucratic bullshit. We can eliminate that by putting a fast track system in that says that, hey, once you get in this system and you get yourself cleared, we're going to set a date. You show up at that date, swear in, congratulations, you're now a United States citizen. We can have this done in about 2 years. At the end of 2 years, those who did not enter into the system obviously don't want to be a citizen at that point, because we've rolled out the red carpet now for the multiple time, and we can turn around and now send them back. Because obviously they didn't want to take the opportunity again that we gave them to become a citizen. Even though some of these people have been here for 20 and 30 years under this program. There has been some that have turned around and got their citizenship because they did it the right way. But there's a lot of them that hasn't. And okay, instead of mass deportation, let's give them one more avenue. Because then here's what happens. Once we make them citizens of this country, and we take the ones who didn't jump up on the opportunity, we can then turn around and deport those who decided they did not want to be citizens, because if they do not take this advantage, they obviously don't want to be here. Your dumb conversation is not bothering me. By the way, for those of you watching on Facebook right now, if you're wondering why I commented that, because you need to come over to YouTube and watch the show. And we have a whole chat room over there, so you guys can be a part of it. And you can tell me how much of a moron I really am. So anyway, so then we make them citizens. We deport the ones who decided not to take part in it. Okay? By the laws of statistics, which I've done a lot of research on in the last several days, 8% of them will probably not take part in it. It's a decent sized number, but we rolled out the red carpet a second, or like a 5th or 8th time, and they didn't take it. Okay, so they go back. Then here's the cool part about that. Guess what we can do now? Stop funding DACA, because it's no longer needed. DACA is done and over with. We've covered it. We've covered our bases. The DACA program then can come to an end because we don't have the people in DACA anymore. It's real simple. But that's not going to happen. And do you know why it's not going to happen? Because right now it's a political football being tossed back and forth between a bunch of senators on both sides of the aisle who want to play whose dick is bigger than the other. It's like playing a game of chicken with elderly people in wheelchairs with blindfolds on. And that's kind of what the Senate really is when you think about it. It's a whole bunch of geriatric people who think they still live in the 40s and think they still know what's best for you. And in fact, Nancy Pelosi has said more than once, they do know more than you. And you should let them do their job, because they are smarter than you are when it comes to these things. Well, that's not the system of government that our forefathers designed. Our system of government was supposed to be so all of us could take part in it. All of us could run. From the guy down the street to the dude living on the hill in the mansion. all of us could take part. But don't tell them that. But like I said, it's like playing chicken with a bunch of elderly people in wheelchairs with blindfolds on. I mean, hell, they're probably going to fall asleep before they hit each other anyway. But that's what this has turned into. And it's a shame that this is the country that we've now fostered. A bunch of people who can't seem to take lead in this country and do the right thing, and instead of keep pointing the finger at someone else. Today I was accused of being a scapegoat. I was a scapegoat. It's trying to blame all the problems on the illegal aliens. Folks, I'm not blaming all of our problems on illegal aliens. Trust me, I'm not. Oh, there's a whole lot more a basket of cats in this situation. In fact, this country is crazier than a bag full of cats hung over a clothesline. Now, some of y'all would have to be kind of older to get that reference. We've got all kinds of weird shit that's going on in this country that's wrong with this country. So to sit there and say that I'm blaming the illegal aliens for all the problems we have in our country is just outright fucking false. I mean, come on, we can't feed our homeless population, which outnumbers the DACA numbers. We can't seem to get people to get to work. Hell, we can't even figure out what's the best way to stop the spread of wildfires, because every time we try to do something, a crazy-ass environmentalist shut it down, and then half of the state of California burns to the ground. We have a hell of a lot more problems in this country that have nothing to do with illegal aliens. So to sit there and accuse me of being a scapegoat is simply because a website has penned a name for people who try to explain things. Well, you're an outright idiot. Okay? You are. Because trust me, we got way more problems in this country. You know, here's the other issue. Somebody tried to throw at me today that we can't get rid of all these people because they do jobs Americans won't do. I'm kind of getting tired of that fucking argument, because if we become that lazy of a race, or, well, not even a race, if we become that lazy as a population of a country, that if there's jobs to fill, people won't do it simply because they're American, well, then that's disrespectful to the terminology of being an American. Americans have always pulled themselves together. They've always stood up above all kinds of adversity. We've gone through some bad shit in our days and made some bad decisions, but we figured out a way to clean it up later on down the road. So you're telling me that we've got how many people collecting unemployment, welfare, food stamps, everything else, that if suddenly some jobs open up, we can turn around and say, hey, look, you got to kind of suck it up, Buttercup, and take a job. We could. Because as it was pointed out to me today, the welfare system is horribly under budgeted. That there's hardly any money in it. So we could put these people to work. It's not that difficult. But see, the problem is, if you take all those people, you put them to work, certain members of the government wouldn't feel so safe at home at night because their constituencies are starting to take care of themselves. See, that's the big bag of dog shit that's been laid on your doorstep. They make you think that they care about people. They don't. They don't give a damn about you or I. It's all about how long they can stay in office and line their pockets with the money of God knows who. They really don't give a damn about you and I. And anytime a politician looks at you and says, I care about you and the things you go through, your bullshit meter should be going through the roof. It really should. You should be concerned. Because what he's doing is he's pandering to you to get you to vote for him. Because when he takes off to Washington, he gives no fucks about you. They don't really care about the illegal immigrants. They really don't. And if any of them in government tries to claim that they do, I can tell you that there's three, maybe three, in the House of Representatives that actually care about the illegal citizens. And the reason why? They themselves have family members that are in the Dreamers program. So they're directly related to the situation. But, you know, when old Whitey there, who's lived in a big mansion on the top of the house, tries to claim that he cares about the minorities and the people that are underneath of him, he doesn't give a damn. And don't try to. By the way, hi folks, those of you on Facebook, thank you for watching in. I'm currently doing the show on our YouTube channel, which is the Raj and Rich Show. If you search it in YouTube and you'll find it, you can catch it right there, and we've got a chat going in there as well. Okay, I will be ending this after I'm done talking about DACA, and then I'll be moving on, because there's certain people that will not go to my YouTube channel that I want them to hear what I got to say. Okay, so anyway, they don't care about you. They really don't. I'd have to tell you right now that I hope that one day that I can be decent enough of a salesman to convince people to vote for me and put me in the Senate. The difference is I'm not going to feed you a lot of shit and tell you that I give a damn about you. If I tell you I care about your situations, because I genuinely do and I can relate to it. But I'm not going to sit there and tell you I give a damn about this if I don't really do it, because that's bullshit. These guys will tell you whatever the hell it is you want you to hear, so that way you vote for them. And then they act like they care about DACA. They don't give a damn about DACA. Bernie Sanders sitting there caring about DACA. He's the biggest fucking sellout on your side of the aisle. Mister, I'm just going to roll over and take it up the ass from Hillary Clinton's team. But y'all were all about Bernie Sanders. But then he sold out. Okay? Don't even get me started on Schumer. That motherfucker's more two-faced than Two-Face in Batman. One minute he says one thing, next minute he says another. Say the same thing about Mitch McConnell and the rest of the bunch on the right side of the aisle. If y'all have actually paid attention to what these idiots have said during this whole debate about DACA and the budget, all of them have contradicted things that they've said more than once. More than once. Now, currently, what I understand after hearing some reports today, there is supposed to be some kind of a plan that's supposed to go to the floor again. Now, whether or not they'll vote for it, who knows? The House had no problem passing a budget, but the Senate can't seem to do it. You can't have a budget go before the president's desk for an autograph without the House sending it to the Senate after they pass it and the Senate approving it. And that's where it fell apart last time. It fell apart last time because of that. Thank you, brother, for putting the YouTube link up in the Facebook page for me so they can get over to the YouTube channel and check it out. All right. So yeah, if you see in the chat line, click on that link. It'll take you right over to YouTube, because this Facebook Live is about to go bye-bye. All right. But that's what's going on. This crazy ass idea, right? Let's just go ahead and speed their path to citizenship. It's not really that damn difficult. A lot of you today, with arguing me, tried to tell me that it was very fucking difficult to make somebody a U.S. citizen. No, it's not. It's not that difficult. I mean, hell, 30 seconds of pleasure, you can make a U.S. citizen. I mean, if you can fucking 30 seconds and create a human being, I think if you give us 2 years, we can make a person a U.S. citizen. Just saying. Sex ain't that difficult. Why the hell can't we have somebody raise their right hand, swear an oath to the Constitution, and become a damn citizen? What is so hard? Okay. Well, it is difficult to get the correct amount of cream cheese on a bagel, because sometimes you put too much and sometimes you put too little. Okay, but it's not that difficult, people. It's not that hard. But they want to make it difficult, and I've already explained why. And they're going back and forth with a, hey, look, my dick is bigger than your dick competition. And unfortunately, our military and the DACA kids are stuck in the middle on a dick-swinging competition. It's exactly what this is. Okay? It's nothing more than that. And everybody's trying to play it up as more. The bad part is you got people that are not only here illegally, and this was another discussion we got into today, some of them are collecting benefits, which by the rules they're not supposed to be. Somebody sat there and repeated over and over and over again, well, the law says that they cannot collect benefits. Okay, well, several agencies have done investigations to prove that, yes, there are illegal aliens in our country receiving benefits. They're receiving welfare. They're receiving food stamps. They're receiving different things. He said, well, the paperwork says it doesn't. Well, it's also illegal and on paper. It's illegal and on paper not to kill people, but people still do that shit too. Okay? I was asked earlier today, state my sources. Okay? I've been through 37 different federal websites dealing with statistics, dealing with reports. God damn knows how many I've gone through putting together the numbers. Okay? It's there. Okay? There's even an on-TV interview with one who was receiving benefits. Still got told that that was bullshit. Still got told that's bullshit because paperwork says that they can't. Well, I can tell you the city of San Francisco has figured out ways around that because their little sanctuary city has been giving benefits. Has been granting benefits. Okay? I know people that work in San Francisco. It's very obvious. They don't even try to hide it. The state of California hasn't even denied that they've authorized benefits. They haven't even denied it. When asked, they just move on. Okay? They just divert the question to something else. Usually when somebody diverts the question because they don't want to answer it, is because they know their ass is going to get found out about it. They don't even deny it, though. They don't come out and say, no, absolutely not, we don't do this. Other states have. Other states have. Colorado was accused of giving illegal aliens authorization to receive benefits. Colorado came right out and denied it. Texas has been accused of it. Texas has denied it. But California doesn't deny it. It makes you wonder. Now, am I there in the offices to determine it? No. Can you finagle paperwork to make it look like it needs to in order to get it through? Oh, hell yeah. The United States government and all its paperwork that it has is some of the corruptest, crookedest bunch on the face of the earth. All of them. Including the guy at the top with the fake hair. Okay? All of them. They all that way. So to sit there and try to say, hey, well, the paperwork says it. Well, it's also illegal to kill people. It's illegal to drive drunk. There's lots of things that are illegal. It's illegal to come here without authorization. People still do it. So you're going to tell me that because the paperwork says it's not allowed, people are actually listening to the paperwork? I'm sorry, but that argument is invalid. And that is why people still break the fucking law. And we have laws. We have old-ass laws that people still break today. And like I said, it's because this DACA issue with the budget is nothing but a dick-swinging contest between both sides of the aisle. Both of them are at fault for us being in this situation. Not the 800,000 people that are stuck here right now not knowing what's going on. They're not at fault for this situation. And if I see another person trying to blame the 800,000 people for our country being stuck in this situation, I swear I'm going to drive to your house and smack you upside your head. Because that's just asinine. It is not their fault. Bureaucratic bullshit is what's gotten them in this situation. And now the bureaucrats need to solve it. Kicking out 800,000 people is not the answer. Okay? We're better than that. We're supposed to be a compassionate people. So we're better than that. What will get you to drive down there? A new car. Because I'm not going to drive my piece of crap all the way to your house. Now moving on. And before I move on, ladies and gentlemen in the Facebook world, I have to say goodbye. Because this is where I cut you off. But if you click on the link that Anthony O'Neill posted there in the chat room, you can come here live on the show. So folks, for those of you in Facebook land, I bid you adieu. I hope that answered some of your questions. If it didn't, I apologize. But anyway, like I said, there's a link there to go to my YouTube channel to watch the world famous Rich Wilson show live. Alright, so we'll see you later. For those of you just logging in, I apologize, but there's a link. Click on it, come over and watch it. Later. Alright, so now I'm done with that. Now I can focus here. Because it's really hard for me to focus on multiple objects at the same time. I swear I have ADD. And by the way, one of the individuals who did sit there and say that I was making shit up, that he didn't believe me, was watching on Facebook Live. So hopefully he got the message. Station manager, I need flamage. Thank you. Now let's move on to the tax break situation. Okay? People are still running off at the mouth saying that the tax breaks that we just got are horrible for this country. For some reason, getting a little bit more money in your pocket is a horrible thing. Now I get that some of your little tax write-offs are going away. In order to give you a tax break, we have to somewhat try to balance the system. If you hadn't noticed, we're kind of in the tank for $20+ trillion. How do you think the government gets revenue? Taxes. Okay, so if we take and drop the tax rate, we have to balance it out somehow. It's how it works. The United States of America is an economic engine. If anybody ever tells you that it's not, they're messed up in the head. Okay? We're an economic engine. Okay? That's how it works. The government gets its money from its people to do the things it does, which most of the time is now asinine and is no good. But when we talk about the taxes, okay, the thing is, all right, the tax on corporations was lowered not to help the rich fat cats out. Okay, that's like a brown version of thing from Adam's Family that just happened on my table. It wasn't to give bonuses to all the rich fat cats that runs corporations. Okay, that's not what it was for. It was to make the United States a semi-level playing field with the rest of the world. That's what it was designed for. It's what Trump ran on. In fact, Trump ran on 15%, but there was no way they were going to go for that. So they settled at 21%, which is a hell of a big dump from where we were. In fact, my taxes were higher than corporate tax. I'm self-employed. Do the math. I get taxed twice. But now with this, I'm included in that tax break. So now I'm on a level playing field with companies that make billions and billions of dollars. Okay? Rich is trying to grow a whole human confirmed. We're working on it here. See? We haven't quite perfected it yet. It still can't figure out it has to go outdoors to poop. But it can raise its finger and wiggle it. Okay, so anyway, back to where we were. Alright, a little levity there. Okay. You've got companies like Apple that are going to produce 150,000 jobs in the next 2 years. AT&T, well, I'm sorry, but AT&T's whole business model is a joke, and that company is bullshit anyway. And eventually AT&T is going to go away. Their internet program was, their internet providing service, complete crap. Nobody really uses a home telephone anymore, and if they do now, it's through a cable company. Most people have cell phones. The only thing that AT&T really makes money off of is cellular service. And that's not even that great anymore. I mean, my God, you watch one YouTube video and you've ate half of your data for the month. But, you know, and they're shutting down things, and people are like, well, AT&T is closing all kinds of stuff. It's because AT&T's business model is fucking horrible. They need to change. Now, I'm skipping around a little bit on this, but let me say something about the tax breaks when it comes to Sam's Club under the Walmart brand. Okay, and I tried explaining this earlier today, and somebody didn't get it. Sam's Club, Walmart has been talking about reducing the number of Sam's Clubs for a while now. They were talking about this before the tax breaks. Okay? And I've tried explaining this ad nauseum on the Raj and Rich Show on exactly what their plan is, but they seem to miss it, so I'm going to bring it back up again. Walmart Corporation is trying to find a way to get onto a level competition with Amazon. And what the plans are is, yes, they're going to be shutting down the Sam's Club as you know it. Okay? They're going to be turning them into same-day distribution hubs. Basically what it means is you go online, if you live in the city of Austin, because there's 3 Sam's Clubs in the city of Austin, maybe 4. I just haven't seen the 4th one yet. Somebody told me it was 4. They closed 2 of them. Okay? Turn them into distribution hubs. Now, people that are working there will still be working there, with the exception of a few people that are not, their job does not fit with what the model is going to be for that store. You order, say you need 150 rolls of toilet paper. You get your order in before 1 o'clock in the afternoon, that toilet paper is going to be at your front door before the day is over. That's what their plan is, because Amazon can't manage that. Best Amazon can do is next day. They can't, in a lot of situations, they cannot do same day. Unless you live next to the warehouse. And even then, it's still got to go to a distribution hub for whatever carrier is taking it out. Walmart's actually going to have their own carriers for this. Well, they already have a contract with Swift, but they're talking about putting in box vans for local delivery. Okay, this is what their plan is, and they've been working on this plan for a little while now. It has nothing to do with the tax breaks. This has been on the horizon because Sam's Club is not making the money that they once were. Okay, and the problem is because companies like Amazon, Walmart.com is not doing as well as Amazon. So Walmart is trying to find a way to compete with Amazon. This is what happens with companies. It has nothing to do with tax breaks. And don't act like you're shocked. This is what companies do. When they're not winning in a market, they start reevaluating and readjusting their corporation, unless they're AT&T, to try and compete with their competitors and try to beat them. If Walmart can do guaranteed same day delivery if you order before a certain point on just about anything Walmart has, well then Amazon's going to take a hit because Amazon can't do that. Amazon's then going to have to step up and do what Walmart does, and they're going to have to spend a whole lot of money in order to do it, to match that. But then Walmart's got the edge on that deal, and then they have a way to, then they have counter ways to do it. So stop sitting there trying to say that Sam's Club shutting down, Walmart, one of the biggest corporations in the United States, is closing doors and laying off hundreds of thousands of people. That is completely and totally inaccurate. They're going to not be working in the Sam's Club as you know it. They're going to be retrained and learn how to run a rapid distribution point. A lot of you people don't understand what a rapid distribution point is unless you've been in the industry of running freight back and forth, running packages back and forth. So that's what's going on with Walmart. Now let me do this right now. And don't get me wrong, pretty sure even the President of the United States is not exactly the happiest person right now with a certain company. Because they went up and in front of the cameras told everybody that they were going to improve their corporation with these tax breaks, and they were going to reopen a section of their facility and bring thousands of people back to work again. And then we found out they bullshitted us. Found that out today. That went across the news today. I researched into it, and sure enough, it's completely accurate. Carrier, we found out today that Carrier has decided to give its stockholders, yes it does, Anthony, don't listen to him. Okay, it decided its stockholders and shareholders are now going to get a bonus from the money they're getting out of the tax breaks, and they're not reopening that section of the facility. And a Carrier is going to be actually putting in more automated systems to build theirs so they can lay off even more people. That one there is, I will give Donald Trump a pass on that because I'm pretty sure he was sold on that deal too. because he brought Carrier there and said, "What can I do to get these people back to work?" And Carrier said, "Cut our taxes so we're not having to put our shit overseas to build it, so we can make it affordable." And he's like, "Well, that's what I'm trying to do. So why don't you get up there on TV and you sell it with me? It'll look better if it's coming from a corporation." And sure enough, they did. Sold all of us on it. Come to find out, they're full of shit. I really hope by the time he gets done, the president's got an answer for it. I hope. Not holding my breath, but at least I'm hoping. So Carrier, bunch of bullshit. Go with Train. If you're gonna get your house. Oh yeah, they did, Anthony. They loopholed the shit out of that deal. So of course the poster children that we put up saying, "Hey, tax breaks are gonna work." Something similar to that happened to the President of the United States before Trump with the whole solar panel thing. Okay? We all remember that green energy outfit that the government gave billions of dollars to, then suddenly went bankrupt and the money never got returned to the government. Found out that was a that was a big load of bullshit too. So even Barack Obama got fed a line of bullshit. It happens to him. But I tell you what though, business is booming. The economy is, the stock market is at a record high. Not a record low, a record high. Companies are expanding. Like I said before, you've got Apple looking in 2 years to have added 150,000 jobs. In fact, if I was the CEO of Apple right now, I'd go over to Carrier and say, "Guys, you want to be here anymore? We're more than willing to take you guys on. In fact, we'll build a facility in Ohio. We'll hire every one of you and retrain you to work in our facility." That's what I would do as the CEO of Apple. Just to be a dick to Carrier for doing this to people. That's the kind of thing I would do. Solar farms is still up and running. Well, yes. Okay. Correct another thing about that real fast. Somebody tried to tell me there's only 2 solar panel manufacturers in the United States of America. I deliver to a place that specializes in selling. They deal in solar panel equipment, and they also deal with installers. They have to order this stuff. The guy told me today that's a line of crap. There's 5 of them in Texas that make them. And on the whole tariff thing about solar panel issues, okay, this guy also told me this, because I asked him, I said, "Are your prices going to go up? Are you going to have an issue with your prices?" And he goes, "No." You know why? He says the tariff on solar panels, he said, believe it or not, he says the solar panel itself is actually one of the cheapest parts of the whole operation. The the electrical distribution equipment costs more than a solar panel does. The batteries that it pumps into cost more than a solar panel does. So actually their price really won't go up because they pretty much picked almost the cheapest piece of equipment to raise tariffs on. Here, I asked him, I said, "Are you guys going to raise your prices?" He said they were talking about it this morning in the corporate chat. They have no intention of raising their prices on anything. Now, however, speaking of raising prices because of tariffs, Whirlpool, we all know who Whirlpool is. They're an American-based company, makes washers, dryers, they make refrigerators, they make basically the shit you need in your kitchen and your bathroom. Okay? Do make other things, but they already announced that they're raising their prices. Samsung has already announced that it has to raise its prices because, yes, as we discussed on another show, Samsung is a Korean-based company. Okay? However, what they make in the United States is not going to be affected by the tariffs. Okay? But a large majority. Now, here's a loophole about the tariffs. Here's a loophole that I found out about today from a guy, a very successful businessman. The tariff is written that the washing machine, the dryer, The solar panel, all of that is what's going to get tariffed. The totality, the item itself, not the individual pieces. Stop and think about that for a second, people. Not the individual pieces. So if Korea, they manufacture all the parts that make the washing machine, send it to the United States in pieces, that's not included. He went through and reread this because he actually has investments in Samsung. Okay. But they've already announced they're raising prices. Even though there's already a loophole on how to get around the tariff without having to pay for it. Okay. They're already raising their prices. So what's going to end up happening here is these industries that are being affected by these tariffs are now going to play a high-stakes game of chicken with the President of the United States. They're going to start raising their rates and raising their rates and raising their rates, hoping that the government flinches and says, okay. Well, see, here's the problem with that scenario, because I already see you shaking your head no. Here's the problem. Whirlpool does not have a serious American competitor. They don't. They bought their competition. In fact, I believe it was the Bush administration was the one who authorized them to buy out their competition and then gave them federal protection. Okay? Because technically they should have been drug into court for monopoly. They weren't.
I think it's during Obama, during his first administration.
No, I thought that was the end of the Bush era.
No. I'm pretty sure it was Obama.
Because it really sounds like a Republican thing to do. To allow a corporation to buy out all of its competitors. I don't know. I'll have to research that, folks, and I'll get back to you on that. Okay. But Whirlpool doesn't have any competition. Anthony said it was the Bush administration.
Okay.
He probably Googled it.
Yeah, I was about to right now.
Okay. They don't have competition. There it is. He just looked it up. Okay. I love my fans. Because if I'm not sure on something, within seconds they will get me the answer. If I ever get paid to do this, some of y'all might get put on payroll. Just because. You help make the show go, I'll chip a little your way. Okay, but here's the things. Whirlpool doesn't have competition. So they raise their prices. Who's going to outsell them? There's nobody else in the United States can compete with them. So the hope is that somebody will come along and start another company and maybe put some competition to Whirlpool. But you're talking about 10 years down the road. Long after this president's gone. If he gets reelected a second time. Or reelected once. Sorry, second time. So, start to sound like Roosevelt. In office, in office, in office, in office. So anyway, so yeah, those companies are going to start playing chicken with the federal government, and they're going to start raising the rates and raising the rates and raising the rates. So unfortunately, folks, if you ain't bought a washing machine and a dishwasher, a dryer, a washing machine, a refrigerator, if you've been thinking about doing it, honestly, right now, I would do it. Get it now. Because prices are going to start skyrocketing if they're going to play this game. Same thing happened during the Obama administration with the tire tariff. Tire prices went through the roof, and eventually the government caved. Eventually they gave in and removed it. Okay. So, how long are we going to go on this one before we give in? Whirlpool doesn't even get affected by the tariffs. So you think to shut down anybody else in the world selling washing machines and dryers here, they would just keep the prices as they are and everybody's going to flock to them. No, they're raising their rates. They're raising their rates already. It hasn't even gone into effect yet. They're already raising their prices. There we go. So, like I said, if you have not bought a washer, dryer, dishwasher, fridge, and you need to, do it now. This is not going to be pretty. I wish the president would have thought this one through a little bit better and designed it a little bit better. I think this might have been one of his little I'm going to jump off the cliff moments, and not think about whether or not there's water at the bottom. Like I said, not everything the man does is good. All right. So moving on to that nonsensical bullshit. I think I've covered just about everything involving the federal government I really wanted to cover for right now. I don't really want to talk about much else because it'll make me almost sick to my stomach because I'm so pissed off at being accused that I don't do research, that I'm doing this and I'm doing that and I'm doing this, and they're outright lies. Anybody knows that when they discuss with me these things. No, sports is a little bit later. Mine will be a little more energetic. You know I do my research. I don't just take it from one source. In all honesty, I will admit the first 2 years I was on the air on my radio show, I only watched Fox News. And eventually one day I woke up and realized I'm only getting one side of the story. I need to verify this. I need to go to sources. I need to find out what the hell's going on. So when I'm talking to you about something, I'm not telling you from one side of the coin. I'm telling you from everything that I've been studying on it. It's not that difficult to do. It's actually really, really simple if you want to do the homework. The problem is a lot of people just take whatever side they're on, granted, and the goofball fucking websites. Okay? Because I guess now if it says .org on it, it's accurate. I already covered Walmart. That was the Sam's Club thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So let's talk about I am free through the week if you want me to pull pages for you. I have this feeling if I actually do that, I would be flooded with so much stuff that I'd have no idea what I was getting, what I was doing. I seriously don't. But anyway, let's talk about what happened in Alaska. And the reason why I want to talk to you about this is because the United States doesn't get hit with these often to the extent that they thought was going to happen, and thank God it didn't. An 8 point, let's see, they've changed the number over and over again. I think last time I saw it was 8.3 magnitude earthquake off the coast of Kodiak, Alaska. Okay, hit. Now, of course, at 12:30 in the morning, most people are passed out. You know, a 8.3 earthquake. What, you? Fine. Okay, an 8.3 earthquake hit, and of course the tsunami warnings went out because it's out. It was 150 miles off the coast of Kodiak, Alaska. Of course, they felt it. So the warning, they didn't have to worry about waking people up with a warning, unless you're one of those people that literally, if you drop a bomb in the house, you won't wake up. Okay, everybody kind of knew the warning was coming. The United States doesn't really have a solid tsunami warning system. They really don't, and we proved that in Kodiak, Alaska. They were delayed in getting it out. It was only 150 miles off the coast. They were delayed in getting it out. So USGS already came out and said, based off of if the tsunami would have actually happened, the loss of life, Kodiak is sparsely populated, so it wouldn't have been on a scale like if a tsunami hit San Francisco that was like 100 feet high. Not like the one that hit, what was that? What was the islands?
Maldives.
The Maldives. Okay. Not like that. Or the one that hit Japan that killed 30,000 people. Okay.
I might go to Juneau or Anchorage.
You know, but, you know, it still would be a catastrophic loss of life. And the USGS has already said, based off of our system that we currently have in play, the loss of life would have been in the thousands. Okay? Pretty much here's the United States tsunami warning system. This is how it works. An audible alarm system will go off. It'll go off on your phone. It will go off on sirens anywhere that you're next to an ocean. It sounds like... It goes off kind of like that. And pretty much you're told, grab your socks, you know, and fucking haul ass. That is pretty much the only advisement they can give you, is get the fuck to high land, which is not inaccurate. It is very accurate. Head for the hills. But usually by the time these alarms go off, it's already too late for some of those people. You know, it's already too late for some of those people. Look what happened in Japan. Tsunami warnings went off. They had nowhere to go. You have that many people living in that small of an area, there's nowhere to go. You can only put so many million people on a mountainside before you kind of start running out of room. But that's not what happened. They were just caught. Because the tsunami warning system was so delayed that a lot of people were still in their houses. They couldn't get out to evacuate yet. And this really exposed something that we really need to look into. With all of the technology we have, we are still relying on buoys that were put out in the ocean during World War II. That is what we're seriously relying on for the safety of millions of people up and down the coast of the countries. Buoys that have been out there since World War II are what tell us whether or not there's a tsunami coming. Running on antiquated digital or non-digital technology to send signals out. I mean, what is so difficult about taking our technology and increasing our safety for everybody else? Okay? You can't predict earthquakes. You just can't. Science has tried. They're trying now. This year, so far, they've been pretty damn accurate, though. I will say this. They said this year we were going to have a lot more earthquakes than we've had in a long time. I mean, the city of Reno, Nevada, where I was living for a while, they've had more earthquakes in the last 4 months than they've had in the last 15 years. Okay? Little itty-bitty ones, but still, a friend of mine owned a house in Reno, Nevada, and we went, and I know you remember, we went through a series of earthquakes. He had a crack running from the floor of his house all the way up to the corner, up the corner of the wall, to where the ceiling came across. Clean crack all the way across from it. So yeah, it may not seem like a little shake, and that's it. But you do this several hundred times, and it starts to break. You know, so folks, if you live in an earthquake-prone area, it's real simple. Get you a bug-out bag. They're not hard to make. Essentials for survival. Get you about 3 MREs. Get you some sealed packeted water. Get you some. They have hand pump filtrations for water. Some sanitary issues. Make sure you're good for about 36 to anywhere between 48 to 72 hours.
You can get the life straw.
You can get the life straw, which isn't that the one where you just stick the bitch in the water and drink straight out of the stream?
Yeah.
Okay, that looked wrong. My description.
It only costs
it's kind of like.
The most I've seen it cost is like $15.
Yeah, it's like $15, $16.
And it's good for like I think 5 liters.
Yeah. And you could drink straight out of the stream. In fact, I think I saw a video where the dude was drinking out of this one stream that was just nasty as shit.
He was drinking out of the Ganges.
Mm-hmm. Get yourself a bug-out bag and know where the fuck to go. Have an immediate evacuation plan. It's just like if I moved to Florida. Okay, I'm going to guarantee you within the first 3 months I'm there, every member of my house will have bug-out bags. We will have rations in case we're stuck in the house and we can't get out. We will have an inflatable raft. We will have certain things in place because they get hurt with hurricanes all the fucking time. We're gonna make sure we're covered. Here we have a problem with tornadoes. I live in a trailer. I didn't think that one through. I'll give you that. Kind of had to move on a hurry where it moved to. But always be aware of your surroundings, people. Always be aware of your surroundings. You know, ninja stars. Can't forget the ninja stars. You may need, I will say, make sure you have firearms and ample amount of ammunition. If you can't own a firearm, get a sword and get really good at it. Most of the time, people are not really going to challenge a crazy dude with a sword. Then kind of avoid them. Okay? If you live in an area where there's an urban population where a disaster could strike, and we've seen a lot of these urban areas where they have a tendency to prone to looting, you can get yourself a firearm. get yourself firearm and ammunition in a way that you know how to defend your house. Okay, because when shit hits the fan, ain't nothing stopping nobody from going in anywhere except a firearm. Okay, and don't move the body. Leave the body right outside the door. That way, when people come up going, oh, they shoot motherfuckers, let's go somewhere else. Okay, I'm not really recommending that.
I shoot motherfuckers.
Okay, I will say if you try to come to the house, I'm gonna steal my shit off. I'm gonna shoot you. Okay, but anyway, so that moving on from that, so that covers that. So folks, and that's really the moral of the story: is don't rely on the government to be there for your safety. Rely on yourself. Now let's move on to the Mayon volcano in the Philippines. The reason why I talk about this, I got a friend of mine, his wife is from the Philippines. I know lots of people married to people from the Philippines. I know people that live in the Philippines. I know people that are from the Philippines. Okay. The Mayon volcano is the largest, I believe it is the largest volcano in the Philippines and is most active. Well, for the last couple weeks, she's been spewing ash out of her. It increased significantly, and now there's starting to be lava coming out of it. Geologists are now stating that the changing of the cone is indicating that she's about to erupt majorly. If you're still near that volcano, you still have a chance to get the fuck out.
Looking at Mount Vesuvius, part 2.
You know, you still have a chance to get the fuck out. It hasn't blown its top. There's still time. Don't wait until it explodes and try to run for the ocean.
Don't anger the gods.
Okay. You know, there was a lot of people in Washington State, Mount St. Helens didn't heed the warnings. You know, Mount St. Helens started spewing ash, and the USGS said, hey, she's expanding, which is not a good thing. That means it's going, the expansion's got to stop somehow. Either it's going to retract or it's going to blow out. Well, it blew out the side of the mountain. The whole side of Mount St. Helens came out. Friends of my mom and dad live there. Okay. And I've watched video on that, and it's just insane. And people were killed in that because they didn't heed the warnings. They're like, nah, it does this all the time. Have they tried throwing a virgin into the volcano yet? I will let you know when Tom Hanks gets to the island and tries to take on the island. How many people remember that shitty-ass movie? That was one of Tom Hanks' worst. Joe versus the volcano. God, that was... I watched it twice, and I regretted my life decisions after that for watching it a second time. But, given this day and age, do we really know if there's any virgins left? Do people even that are virgins identify as virgins anymore?
Yes.
They do?
Yes.
The problem is you have some people that ain't virgins. Their shit's more worn out than I-35 through Austin.
I'm a virgin.
And they identify, see, there you go. And they identify as virgins. I don't identify as a virgin.
I'm a virgin.
And somebody's like, we're going to throw you in the volcano. I'm like, all you're going to do is piss it off. Although I am fat enough, I might block the bitch. But then I'm going to get launched into outer space like a fucking, like a missile. But, you know, Anthony knows a virgin. Well, I mean, the kids count?
Yeah.
Can we throw kids in there?
Kids do count.
All right, we can do that. No, we're not going to throw kids in a volcano.
I'll do it.
Unless it's mine. Throw mine in there. Hey, go down in history as brave and saved hundreds of thousands of lives.
For a second.
Yeah, well, we're now getting way off target here. But yeah, so that's that. So, folks, my final thought, well, the final topic I'm going to talk about tonight, and then we'll get to final thoughts. The Super Bowl is coming up in 2 weeks. It's going to be the New England Patriots versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay. Yes, we don't have Carson Wentz, and that's been brought up a lot this week. Well, you still don't have Carson Wentz, even though Nick Foles looked like one of the greatest quarterbacks in history for one game and against Minnesota Vikings. Okay. I'm not going to sit here and make a prediction of this game. I'm not. I don't do that. I don't make predictions in football games. I never have, and I'm not going to start now. Just like I don't make predictions in baseball games. I don't make predictions. In the beginning of the season, I will tell you, okay, well, I think these teams may be at the end. Philadelphia was not on my radar. Okay. Philadelphia had to rebuild its team after the Chip Kelly bullshit. And last year we didn't make the playoffs. This year I said if we at least make the playoffs, it's a successful season for me because of what we had to go through, what we had to rebuild from. Okay. Chip Kelly took a team that was going to the playoffs regularly under Andy Reid and didn't make the playoffs. Okay. We've already made the playoffs, so for me it's a successful season. The fact that we're in the Super Bowl is a bonus. And I look at it and say, hey, you know what? There's a guy I deliver to. I'm at their warehouse every single day. The guy's a big-time New England Patriots fan. He knows I'm a big Eagles fan. And today we went face-to-face. We talked about what we wanted to see out of the game. We're hoping that it's an exciting game because it's in a dome. You have two quarterbacks that are very good. I'm not going to say Nick Foles is the level of Tom Brady. There's no quarterback in history the level of Tom Brady. You know, Tom Brady is in a category to himself. Okay? Joe Montana was in a category all to himself. Godzilla was in a category all to himself. Okay, Anthony. Okay. But Nick Foles has showed that he ain't as rusty as everybody thought he was. And he can step up when he needs to step up. So we're hoping this is going to be an exciting game. I'm making predictions on what you're going to see in the game. I believe that Philadelphia is going to run the ball more because the Patriots are weak against the run. I believe that you're going to see more scheme blocking to try and stop Philadelphia's front four from pressuring Tom Brady. Don't know if they're going to have Gronkowski back because right now Gronkowski is still going through percussion protocols. And I will say right now for the record, and if you're a Jaguars fan and you think that nothing went wrong or nothing happened, you're crazy. That was an intentional head-to-head shot. And you know what? I wish when guys are headhunting like that, they just kick them out of the NFL. I'm all about hard hits. I love hard hits. But I love hard, clean hits. And that by any means was not a hard, clean hit. He straight up lowered his head and headhunted Gronkowski. And it wasn't the first attempt they had made at it. In the game, they had tried a couple times of taking him out because they know that's one of Brady's chief weapons. Okay? I wish they would turn around and ban people for life from the NFL for trying to strike with the head. It doesn't do any good other than taking people out of the game. Now, I will go back to the Minnesota game before Philadelphia when they played New Orleans. Okay? They called an unnecessary roughness penalty on a New Orleans Saint for an impact on a Vikings player that was not intentional head-to-head contact. Okay? That guy, they went shoulder to shoulder, and the force of the impact caused both their helmets to come together. It happens, and that can only withstand so much G-forces before the head tilts. And they ended up hitting head-to-head, and they threw a personal foul against the safety for hitting with the head. And he never even led with it. He went in with his shoulder, and the impact caused his head to snap over. Neither player was hurt. Even the wide receiver for the Vikings was like, even Satter goes, he even looked at the corner and goes, I don't think you tried to hit me in the head. I don't know if Gronk is okay, Anthony. They still haven't came back, and you know Bill Belichick ain't going to tell you if he is until game time. You're not going to know until Gronk gets out on the field. Because, I mean, look how much they played Tom Brady's hand injury. It went from just a little minor scrape to, I think today somebody said 24 stitches in his hand. That number changes every day. So Bill Belichick, who is I mean, say what you want, said, oh, well, he's cheated in games. Well, there's an old adage about NASCAR that holds to football as well. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Everybody tries to find an edge to get around it. I mean, that's what separates successful teams from the Cleveland Browns. Okay? The Cleveland Browns aren't cheating. They're not even attempting it. I don't even think they're attempting to play football. Okay? And they lose all the time. Teams at the top, I'm pretty sure Philadelphia's probably cheated a thing or two this year. I'm not going to deny it. But it's part of sports. Try to figure out that edge the other team doesn't have. I think we're going to see an exciting game. I think we're going to see a show-off between quarterbacks. And I think you may very well be, even though he has a 2-year contract, I think you very well may be looking at Tom Brady's last professional football game. You know, I very well think that this is very possible that this is Bill Belichick and Tom Brady's last football game. Which means it's going to be an end of an era in football. And then the Patriots are going to suck for a while they try to rebuild their dynasty. If they lose, maybe not. Maybe they will come back next year. Try to do it one more time. Get Brady number 6. Get his 6th ring so he's got a ring on another hand. And break even more records. Who knows? We'll find that out. But I think you're going to see an exciting game. And I think it's going to be a blast to watch regardless of whose team you're rooting for. But back to that story I was telling you about me and that guy. We went face to face. We talked about it. In the end, and we weren't evil about it with each other. We didn't get stupid. We shook hands and wished each other's team the best of luck. And that was it. You know, that's how it should be. If you're watching this show right now and you're a New England Patriots fan, best of luck to you and your team. If you're an Eagles fan, fly, Eagles, fly. I think it'll be fun. Am I going to pay attention to the Pro Bowl on Sunday? No. I'm watching the Royal Rumble. Now for my final thoughts. Folks, we're at a tipping point in our country. Okay? We're at that point. Where we go from here is totally up to us. It's not up to the government. Stop looking to them for the answer. Ronald Reagan said it best when he said, the worst thing you could possibly hear is somebody say, hi, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Great words. Remember, JFK said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Great leaders. All with the same message. You shouldn't look to the government to fix it. You should. You should be the one to fix it. And that's where we're at. We've slowly started turning into a society that looks to blame everybody else for our problems. We have turned into a society to where it's easier to make up excuses than to find solutions. I'm not quite sure, you know, when I was a kid, my grandfather White would tell me stories about things when he was a kid, and he would tell me about how tough life was, but how they motored through it and how they overcame it. My grandfather White is gone. I wonder what he would say right now if he could look at our society the way it is compared to when he was this age. I'm sure he'd be disappointed. And we should be. We should all be disappointed in ourselves. Because we stopped looking to how we can solve the problem and we started looking at who to blame. Somebody got into office that said, I'm not going to do what everybody else did. I'm going to try to do it differently. And how do we respond? By making accusations, by saying things that are unbelievable. I mean, when you seriously think about it, look at how many times they call the President of the United States Cheeto. Because he likes, to him, he enjoys having a spray-on tan and bright hair. It's his preference. I'm pretty sure if I walked down the street and found some girl with rainbow hair wearing skinny jeans and said she was a guy, and I made some comment about her, even though that's what she's comfortable with, I would be labeled as a bigot. As a person that's spewing hate. But it's not the same way the other way around. It doesn't
make sense, does it, when you really think about it that way? I mean, what would have happened if everybody would have started calling President Barack Obama the brownie with white chocolate chips? You'd be called a racist, a bigot. I mean, if you even say that you didn't vote for him or you didn't like him as a president, you're already labeled that. See, there it is. Looking on why everybody else is at fault and why you're perfect. Well, you're not perfect. None of us are. We're human beings. Human beings are born inherently dangerous and with flaws. It's how we manage ourselves in our lifetime is what makes us who we are. It's what we do is what makes us who we are. If you're going to go through this world blaming everybody else for all of your problems, then in the end, when you die, you were nothing. You were a waste. But if you try to do something, if you get involved, if you try to interact, you try to take charge in your communities, become the next leaders that you want to see, then you've done something. Your life had meaning. It had purpose. And I'm not saying that everybody who's not a leader doesn't have a purpose. There are people who can't lead that can still serve a purpose in this country. But it's not going to work if we sit there and say, well, it's all their fault. It's all their fault. It's these people who did this. It's those people who did this, not me. No, it's all of our faults. We have all failed as a society, and we're continuing to fail even further and further every day. The United States government is not the answer, and it never will be the answer. The United States government has always been the problem. The moment we went to a full-time government and a full-staffed setup is when we started to fail as a country. It's not what we were designed to be. Maybe if we try to go back to something like that, maybe if we try to go back in time when it worked and look at why it worked and see if there's a way we can adapt it to the modern times, maybe we can find a way to make this work out after all. It's just an idea. It's just the things I think about every day. How can I, as an individual, try to help the whole instead of looking for somebody to blame? I don't blame anybody for where I'm at in this world. I blame myself. I don't blame anybody for the way I am and the problems that I have. Part of it I was born with. The other part of it I developed it on my own. And that's where we're at. Now, we don't have to be failures. We don't. And it's not too late for us. It really isn't. But we got to stop looking on who to blame. And we need to start looking on how do we fix it. Fixing this is the answer. But in order to come up with that answer, we have to figure this out. It can't always be somebody else. You can't always pass the buck on. And that's my final thought for tonight. Folks, have yourself a wonderful night. And my final words, before I say, as I say goodnight to you, in the immortal words of an artist, everybody have fun tonight. Everybody Wang Chung tonight. Good night.